ago here at our place, and then we both broke for Christmas break and have both had a game. So obviously a lot of familiarity going into the game. Really happy with our guys in a lot of ways. Obviously the results in terms of win-loss, isn't what everyone wanted it to be. Everybody wants to win more games. We understand that, but I think I think one thing we really like about our team is we feel like they play very hard. We feel like they've been a good defensive group pretty consistently all year. And that's been really good to see. We've got to become more consistent offensively. We've got to get more consistent performances from more guys. But our effort and our defensive desire is something that we've really hung our hat on, and our guys have really done a nice job with that.
Defensively, you guys have been pretty good this year. I mean, throughout the board, you haven't let up more than 80 points or more than 79 points at all in any game. That's including against Michigan State. What has been the key to your guys' success defensively?
Well, I think our guys have taken great pride in becoming a better defensive team. I think we have some guys that can guard the ball. I think we have some physicality. We have a little bit of length that helps us. I think some of the things we're trying to do are different than what we've done in the past, and that's not a criticism or anything. I think all I'm trying to say is I think our guys have bought into what we've tried to do. But I think more so than anything, I think their effort has been outstanding, and I think they bought into, we really need to defend to have success. Like you said, Michigan State scored 79, and Joey Hauser went crazy late in the game to get those. Ball State scored 76. Against us in a high-scoring game. And to be fair, that was probably our worst second-half defense of the year. They scored 40 points in the second half. We've got to do a better job going into the game Tuesday.
Coach, can you talk about some of the newcomers, Greg Lee, for instance, and some of the freshmen, and the type of contribution they've made, and if there's any surprises amongst them?
Sure. Greg obviously came in as a grad transfer and has played and has started every game. Greg, I think it's a unique thing with our new guys. None of our guys were here this summer because of COVID. We didn't have a team practice until October 14th, which was the first day of practice that was allowed. We only had a handful of, skill instruction or small group workouts. So we've really been learning our guys, especially our new guys, every day. I think for freshmen, this has been a hard year in this setting because you don't have the summer workouts, you don't have the strength workouts, you don't have 6-8 weeks before official practice starts to find your way and to get used to college basketball. But Greg's done a nice job all year long. I think we're trying to do a better job of finding a way to put him in a position to be successful, which I think he is. Jalen Holmes tweaked his knee a little bit and missed the Toledo game. I think he'll be available for the Ball State game. I think that's where that's trending. Josiah Freeman is coming along. I think we can all see he's getting better and better each and every game and more confident, more comfortable. And Dalen Hamilton is a guy that was in the lineup early and has been out, but I don't think that's a season-long thing. He's strong, he's physical, he's athletic. Probably him more than anyone, the adjustment from the high school level to the college level has probably been the greatest for him.
If I can stick with that, how did Greg Lee come to you guys? What was the process like of finding him through the portal and picking up a grad transfer?
Sure, he put his name in the portal. Greg is from Rockford, Illinois. He played high school ball down in Houston. Through some contacts that we had, we found out about his name, looked him up. I think the appeal for him to get back closer to Illinois, to play closer to home was important. Candidly, Brandon Johnson leaving and having that position open up in that role, he has some similarities to Brandon and how we wanted to play offensively and how he felt like we could put him in a position to be successful. I think really helped along the way in the recruiting process as well.
Coach, you've kind of stuck with the same starting lineup. Do you see any changes in that anytime soon with Jason and William Boyer, right, Richard, and those guys starting?
Yeah, that's a so we took those guys out when we had some COVID situation with the team, and then we went back to them when they came back. I just felt like as a coach they didn't lose their starting job because of COVID, and then for them to come back, I thought that they had worked in the preseason enough to earn their job back. As a coach, my philosophy, our philosophy as a staff is that we've got to continue to evolve all year long as coaches and as players in every regard. And it's not a criticism. It's not it doesn't mean we have to change lineups. We have to change who starts the game, who ends the games. And we will do that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens here during the year. We also have to balance that with some of the productivity off the bench. Guys like Ralph Cruz and Patrick Emilian and JoJo coming off the bench give us some firepower off the bench as well. And so, I don't want to say like, a coach is cliche. It doesn't matter who starts; it matters who finishes. That's a great cliche. The truth of it is everybody cares who starts. The players care. Shoot, we introduce them separately than everyone else. We got a light show. We got everything else going on. It's hard for me to tell the guys it doesn't matter who starts. And then we introduce only 5 guys. So it does matter, and it matters to our guys a great deal.
Clayton, Adrian Martin is looking really good, and he's, from the eye test anyway, earning some more minutes. Are you guys seeing it that way?
We do for sure. I give Adrian a lot of credit. Adrian's a great young man. He's obviously, this is his 3rd year here. Adrian did a lot of things really well in the past, but he was a very quiet, very reserved to himself person. And when he went on the floor, he played well, but he didn't impact anybody else. And that's part of being a good player. That's part of being a good defender, to be honest. We had a lot of talks about this in the off season. Adrian really took that to heart. AD has come back and has been as vocal, as outgoing. He made a huge change in his persona to help the team. I think by doing that, he's also helped himself. And certainly, I think AD deserves to play more and to play and have a greater role with our team.
Coach, Ralphie obviously is a high energy guy. Had a lot of contributions last year, and has at times this year, but he's kind of gone cold recently and kind of in a little slump. Do you encourage him to just continue to shoot until he shoots his way out of it, or how do you handle a situation like that when a kid's kind of cold?
Sure. Ralph is probably indicative of some of our guys, and so, and to be fair, indicative of our team offensively. We're not incredibly consistent, and Ralph has had games where he had 18. Last time we played Ball State before Christmas, and then he didn't score the other night against Toledo. But no, we don't encourage guys that aren't having a good game to shoot themselves out of it. We encourage our guys to find a way to make someone else better. One of the things we talk to our team about is it's not going to be your day every day. You're not going to have 25 great games, just like you're not going to have 25 bad games. But when it's not your day, you need to make it someone else's day. You need to find a way to give up a little bit of your game to make someone else who's playing better have a better day. Ralph's he's an energetic kid. The candle burns on both ends for Ralphie. It kind of cuts both ways. He's a hyper competitive young man. He really wants to win. He really wants to play hard. And sometimes, though, I think he would even tell you that it can backfire on him a little bit as well. He's just going to put his head down and show you instead of kind of giving into that a little bit. But all in all, Ralph is a very good player. He's a big part of our team. We need Ralph to play well. We have a lot of confidence in Ralph, and I don't think Ralph's performance against Toledo is indicative of his contribution to our team.
Coach, Beardus White has taken a huge leap forward this year to lead the team by far in minutes and points. What do you think of his development and what that means for the team the next 2 years, at least, that he'll be here?
Well, we're extremely proud of Beardus. He works extremely hard. He put a lot of time in this summer. one of the things that's, we've spent a lot of time talking to artists about is you put in all this work, you put in all this extra time because you want to move up on the scouting report. You want the other team to start with you because of their respect and their appreciation for your game. And that's one side of it. And he did, and he has earned that. The other side of it is handling it now. And that's probably what we're even more prouder about is his ability game in and game out. Certainly he hasn't had every game hasn't been the same over 8 games, but he's been our most consistent player, certainly our most consistent player offensively. And he deserves a lot of credit for the work that he has that's earned that. The challenge is it just keeps getting harder and harder. Ball State's going to come in here and the key is going to be to take him away. He knows that. Artist quite candidly can play more minutes, but he's got to be physically able to do that, and how he takes care of his body, how he eats, how he sleeps, how he rests, how he prepares for the games is really, really important, not just him getting extra jump shots in.
When you talked about defense and different things that you've done this year defensively, what did you want to do differently as like, hey, when you take over a program as a head coach, hey, this is what I want to do defensively. What did you want to institute that wasn't in the system?
We've probably simplified some things we've done defensively. We don't change as much throughout a game. I think what we want to try to do is we have our defensive system and we want to play it as much as we can. We want our guys to know exactly what we want to do. We feel like the less they have to think, the faster they can move and the more aggressive they can be. Certainly we as a coaching staff have to game plan. There's tweaks that have to be made. But we want our guys to have a lot of confidence in what we're doing. Sometimes though it's not good enough and we do have to change. And certainly that's something we have to adapt to, but I think maybe more so simplifying and having it easier for our guys to execute on a nightly basis, we hope has helped our team.
Where's your philosophy on that side of the ball come from throughout your coaching stops, playing stops? Like, who influenced you on defense?
Well, I think everyone does. I was really fortunate. Lon Kruger, who I played for and worked for a year, is certainly one of the really good basketball minds, out there. I don't think there's much doubt about that. I was fortunate to work for Hugh Durham for 3 years at Jacksonville University, and the mid-major coach of the year is the Hugh Durham Award. And Hugh is a really, really solid defensive coach. Certainly learned a lot from him. I worked for Billy Donlin at Wright State, and Billy is, nationally known as a very good defensive coach. Obviously, I worked with Hawk for a long time. Hawk's teams were good defensively, without a doubt. So I was fortunate. Robert McCullum was here, who I worked for. I think you try to take a little bit from everybody. You try to take a little bit of what you liked, what you don't like. And I think you have to kind of morph into your personality and your own personal beliefs about the game. But I've been really fortunate to work for a lot of really good people that have really helped me. Our staff also has some really good ideas. We've got a diverse range of ideas on our staff. And then trying to put it all into one package and make it simple and give it to our guys.
What'd you take from Lon?
Well, I was just going to ask, and I don't want to change the subject necessarily, but Titus Wright, he seems to have really made some big advances this year. Can you talk about how you will use him going forward? Because he's at times pretty dominant in the post. And it would seem to me that you'll try to continue to get the ball inside to him.
Yeah, Titus is another young man that worked really hard. I think everyone can see the change in his body from last year to this year. I think he's lost somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds. He talks to us. He tells us this is the best as he's felt, from a physical standpoint. He's in better condition. Similar to artist, Titus has earned our opponents' respect. Their teams aren't just going to let Titus is a handful down there, and he's really hard to guard one-on-one. And so he's earned a double team, and that's now the challenge he's going to have to deal with. Teams are coming to get him. Teams are coming to double team him. Teams are fouling him. Teams are being really physical with him. Titus is a hard guy to referee because Titus creates a lot of contact himself. But that's part of it. That's part of being a good player. And so we continue to work as a coaching staff. It's not on him just to deal with every double team. We have to help him. Our other guys have to move. They have to cut. They have to be available. And quite honestly, we got to make them pay by making some shots when they double team Titus and we get the ball out of there and create an open shot.
Clayton, you used Patrick Emilian in a couple of different roles last year. You kind of settled in using him at the 4, but are you pretty set in that? Or are you considering maybe utilizing him in other roles now that he's shooting the ball like you expect him to?
Yeah, I think Patrick is a lot more confident and a lot more comfortable this year. Again, I think a lot of it is his work that he put in. I think playing him in a role offensively that we have this year has helped him, have maybe simplified the game for him, given him less decisions to make, and he's benefited from that. The thing Patrick's probably done this year that's as good as that, that maybe doesn't go as noticed, is Patrick has turned into a very good defensive player. He's really worked on his body. You saw, obviously, those of us who saw Patrick when he walked in the door to how he is now, his shoulders, his arms, his physical maturity, his work in the weight room has really paid off, but his length bothers people. He moves his feet well enough to keep people in front. And I think he's someone that we've got to experiment with him guarding some other players, maybe away from the basket here too.
Coach, Squeaky Wilkins, I see he's still on the roster. I thought I saw he was still on the roster. And I think I've seen him in warm-ups, not dressed, but on the sidelines. Is he injured or is he out for the year? Is he going to come back? Is there any chance that he'll come back?
Well, Squeak obviously had a significant knee injury at the end of last year and had a pretty serious surgery, after the season, and he's been rehabbing and working his way back towards playing. I think he's cleared to participate. It's a matter of now you have to get in. You have to be physically ready to play. You have to be in condition. You have to be able to practice and play every day to be able to play. With Squeaky, the conversation has been, I'm not interested. I'm not going to put a young man out there to play who's not 100% confident that he can play and play well. Jalen Holmes didn't feel like he could go against Toledo. And we said, okay, we don't want anyone out there that's not 100% healthy or doesn't feel like they can play 100%. At the same time, you have to practice every day if you want to play. Certainly there's modifications, guys get nicked up, guys get dinged up, but you've got to be able to practice every day if you want to play, because that's the only way to be fair to everybody on the team. And Squeak's got to continue to work and get himself physically able to practice every day, practice the entire practice, based on the modifications that the medical team has for him. But he's on the team, and if he can work his way to that position where he can play, and he can help the team, we'll certainly run him out there.